calculate till the end the variation, but I know according to my knowledge and my education that if this precondition appears in the game, there must be something here. This is what I know. This is actually what is intuition. And how easily comes intuition? I mean, Anand says that what is intuition? Intuition is the first move that comes to my mind. Simple. And how this comes? Of course, from the knowledge I got. Do you know, there was a game, Kasparov against the world in internet some years ago. And you ask Kasparov, for example, give me the 3 best moves in this position. He would give you 100% one of the 3 moves would be the best. These 3 moves was the one that computers were discovering at that time after many time of analysis. But how happened? A human gives the same conclusion with a computer. It's very strange. The computers were analyzing with 200 million moves per second, and Kasparov will come with the 3 best moves in some seconds. And this also happens in the game of good players. They will give you 3 moves, it's sure that one of the 3 moves will be the best. Okay, sometimes it happens very rarely that it will not be. This is also comes from intuition, it comes from knowledge. Now, what is the best? Then we start to analyze to find out which is the best. I mean, Tal once said that there are two kinds of sacrifices, mine and the correct. You know, well, the guy wanted to mean that he put a lot of emotion in his sacrifice. He had the intuitive ideas because of his great knowledge, but Tal was a very risky man. But that was in all his life. He was behaving like this in all his life, quite risky and not caring for anything, you know. And he was playing like this chess. Nowadays, unfortunately, Tal wouldn't survive. Because simply the defending scale went very high, you know, and people more or less, even very lower players, they know how to defend a little bit. Maybe not the most accurate way, but they have knowledge about it. At that time, the knowledge of defense was even very low, even in a high level. So Tal somehow was surviving. And it's very nice to see his sacrifices. It's really spectacular. But maybe 50% of them were not correct today. But how to find out? Okay, computers find out. Computers are not human. They were not playing computer, they were playing human. And human had difficulties to find out how to defend against it. This doesn't mean that we should teach our trainees the work of Tal. We have to. But we have also to inform them that this is also great risk in some level. If we speak about the level of 7, 8, 9 years old, usually this kind of chess works fine. Nobody finds the difference. This is what we know. But if we go to more serious, let's say, play, then it's more easy to find it. So intuition, a lot of people gave the word of intuition. Decision also of Capablanca. If you remember that Capablanca was taking the decision on the board without calculating any variation. Capablanca was quite lazy in this way. But we have a very wrong attitude about Capablanca and his career. Everybody thinks that Capablanca was skating, working, or never worked, or blah, 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 like this. They have this idea, but it's completely wrong. Capablanca was the first to make a very serious work in education. He read the available about 1,000 books of this era when he started his career. But don't forget that Capablanca in 1920 was a diplomat, was a playboy, was someone, a rich one. He wanted the other people to believe that he is a monster. He comes from outer space. He was something that the Earth didn't have a second. So it was very important to hide that he was studying from the other people. So everybody think that the guy is blessed by God. It was very important for his image. So Capablanca was creating the story that he never works, he never do anything, everything comes so normal to me, you know, say I'm the God, I'm something. It was a nice story for the public.
he also, before he played Lechheim, he went out with 5 girls drinking champagne.
Okay, these stories, you know, is a little bit exaggerated sometimes, okay? Don't believe all of them. They like to create this kind of thing. I mean, even when he was playing in the famous tournament of 1925, he also shot a movie. He appeared to a movie. Maybe you've seen this movie. Okay, who wants, I'll put this movie in our next break here. It's a short movie, 20 minutes. If you want, you can see it. You know. He even shot a movie during the tournament. He was playing and shooting Chess Fever, they call it. I don't know if you know it. No? It's nice to show the movie to your trainees from the relaxing. When you go to relax, they see the movie. Sometimes you have to have things like that. They like it. Silent movie of 1920s. Nowadays, we know that there are 3 types of initiative decisions. We have to speak about the Russian scientist Ivan Pavlov. Do you know the dogs of Pavlov? And their experiments on this way, don't? Well, the guy was a psychological researcher who believed that he can train anything with the idea of initiative decision. For example, he trained his dogs when he was swilling, you know, to make them believe that it was, I don't know, 12 o'clock in the midday, so they have to eat. So after some days, whenever he was making a noise, a certain noise, the dogs were going immediately to eat. You know, so they make it initiative, they not without thinking. He made a lot of experiments, so you can find a lot of things if you are interested in the internet. It's nothing to do with chess. He didn't make any chess experiments, but he's a very famous Russian scientist who tried to work on that. And this is his work was made was taken after in order to somehow to work on human instincts mostly. So his foundation about the initiative decisions was very important and can be used also in chess. So, but in chess we came to the conclusion that we have the combinative, the positional, and the prophylactic intuition. Because we spoke only about the attacking, let's say, intuition, or to win, but this is not correct. We have 3 types of intuition. Several players who often took decisions simply through intuition. People are like Capablanca, Brostein, Tal, Smyslov, Petrosyan, Spassky, Steiner, and Anandis, the most famous intuition players. For example, Kasparov was never an intuitional player. Kasparov was an analyzer. He wanted to have everything analyzed, either at home, either on the board. On the other hand, Karpov was also a player who used a lot of intuition, but he was also an analyzer, because to be more correct in his findings. But Capablanca and Brostein and Tal, of course, was famous intuitioners, but this is completely different. Capablanca and Smyslov were very positional, Tal and Brostein attacking. Petrosyan also very positional, Spassky very attacking. You see there, it doesn't matter what kind of chess you are playing, the intuition applies to everybody. The main thing is that we have here also some researches by the well-known psychologist and grandmaster Helmut Fleger. You can find a lot of work of Helmut Fleger in chess. Fleger was a German grandmaster who was also a famous psychologist. And he made a lot of researches using himself as experiments in a lot of games. For example, one of the most famous experiments was the absence of danger, as he called it. What the guy did, the guy took some beta blockers. You know what is beta blockers? Well, it's some pills which like LSD, let's say. So he was playing with Spassky and he took, let's say, LSD. So in this way, he played a game where he was seeing the danger coming and he made nothing to prevent it. He was very happy. You know. And even after he was mated, he was happy and laughing. So he came to a conclusion that you cannot really play something competitive if you don't feel the danger, if you don't feel threatened, if all your senses are not in full to resist against what is coming. Okay, it looks to us very simple, but we didn't have the scientific explanation. Then Hermann Frege used himself, took a special license for FIDE because you know this is forbidden, of course, to go and play against LSD, play with full of LSD. Okay, but of course it was not exactly LSD. They call it beta blockers, but what they make it's exactly like LSD. So he made such experiments, and it's very easy if you want to see his work in internet. It's very interesting. Grandmaster Kostic, Bora Kostic, told once how his group of players in Manhattan Chess Club involved in a lengthy analysis of particular position. They couldn't evaluate the position until Capablanca came. He looked for 30 seconds and said, here it is necessary to exchange a few pieces and the game will be favorable for white. They checked and everything was true. Okay, how this came? What Capablanca saw. Capablanca didn't show anything, didn't see anything, didn't calculate anything. He remembered that if I go to this position without these pieces, I know it's winning. So what I should do, get rid of these pieces. Very simply, he had good knowledge on that. The other people, Kostic and the other who didn't have these knowledges, they didn't know, they were completely lost. What to exchange, what to play, what to do. They were completely lost in the rain, as we say, but the other who had a good education, know exactly, I exchange this, I go to this position which I know it is winning, that's over. I don't have to calculate. So Capablanca was trying to play because he read a lot about endings. He was trying to read how to get in the endings what he knows. So, I want to make a question here. Capablanca was an expert in endings, yes? Do you agree? Next year you will receive, or you don't have to receive, you can go to our site to take a very interesting article which tried to prove that Capablanca didn't understand anything about ending. Well, yes, Capablanca, the 8 games. This one, you're going to have it in your next yearbook, which you're going to receive about February. But you can download it in a PDF file from our site. Here we have a lot of endgames played Capablanca, where you played Capablanca, the endgame very bad. Really bad. You cannot imagine how bad, all these games. And even games that he won in the end, he had a problem that he was losing in a certain moment. So what comes as a conclusion, that Capablanca was a master of queen endings and again with mixed material. He had problem in minor piece and games. He played much weaker. But his real weak spot was rook and games, which a lot of people think that he was an expert. But if you take the games and you analyze it, you will see that probably he didn't understand so well this, but he played, okay, this is a conclusion by Georg Mohr. If you have anything against him, you can find him and beat him. For what he writes, it's his responsibility, but the guy made the research on this. So he didn't take it for granted. Okay, everybody said that Capablanca was something very extraordinary in the end. But he tried to find out what was the real truth, and he came to the conclusion. Rook endings was not his very strong point. Because everybody believed for a long period that it was. But now history maybe has to be rewritten. We don't know yet. You will be the one, and trainers all over the world who will judge this article, which is interesting article. With many people that he had real problems in the end. He played really not so good a lot of endings. Okay. And what is also one more conclusion that he makes? A lot of the opponents of Capablanca played much worse than usual the endings. They played like that probably out of fear. Why? Well, because Capablanca was creating stories around him. It was the era where creating stories was nice. So he was creating story that he was very strong in the game, very strong in the game. So people was playing lower because they all the time say, oh, the guy is playing, likely playing with someone that you know he sacrifices. All the time you are aware, I must look for his sacrifice. He's good in combinative play. It is in your mind. But actually it was a lie. So the Cuban managed to save more lost position than anyone before in the 80s. And this comes out from the games that we have here. If you want, just take it today from the internet, this article, but it is in PDF. So we have interesting things already discovered. This also shows us that we must have an open mind.